Any day Igbo man takes over position as the president of Nigeria, that day your slavery starts. So they are afraid to be slave in Nigeria, hence they will never allow Igbo man to be at the presidential seat. Igbos are the cause of their hatred. This has been some declaration by so many individuals and when we talk about the hatred of the Igbos in Nigeria, all over the world, globally. But even some Igbo brothers will also tell you we are the cause of our problem. When you ask him, he will start telling you from whatever that may have happened to him, personal experiences, individualistic experiences. He will tell his story based on that Igbos are the problem. So I want to closely and passionately look into this particular phrase, Igbos are the cause of the problem, Igbos are the cause of their hatred. Let's take a retrospective view of events that has happened. You know, when your enemy tells you your history, you must be guilty. It's not going to favor you. I repeat, when your enemy tells you your history, there's no way the history will be to your favorable, will never be favorable to you. No, what are the reasons why people say Igbo are the cause of the problem? Number one, some people say that why must they take issue of January 15, 1966 coup, military coup? That the Igbo, they still use that phrase, that is the Igbo military coup. But I thank God for somebody like Mike Ozokome's son who debunked that particular claim. Look at what he has to say. Most of you must have watched that video, but look at what he has to say.
And let me very quickly correct one historical profanity. One historical profanity. Because by the grace of God, I'm not just a lawyer, I'm an historian and an archivist. And things must be put in historical perspective. Whenever I hear people say the 1966 coup was an Igbo coup, it is a lie from the pit of hell. It is not true. It was a coup led by dissatisfied, disgruntled Nigerians. There were 21 people in all.
Thank you. You heard him very well. There were 21 people. Only 7 people are Igbos. But I don't see why now they keep labeling that particular coup Igbo-led military coup. Why? Because of the hatred. You heard him. This man is not an Igbo man. And nobody has refuted or debunking this particular truth he declared. The truth remained that it was even led by Kaduna Nzogu Chukuma, a man from Niger Delta. The recent day, you could call them Niger Delta, Asaba, Opanam. So why is he being called Igbo military coup? I was chatting with somebody, one of the people, they said, a very good friend, but he hates the Igbos so much. So when I brought it up with him, said, look at one of the reasons why you hate the Igbos, that they look at the coup. He said, yes. Why he said that it's Igbo military coup, that no Igbo leader was massacred. But they only killed Yoruba leaders and the Hausa leaders, Hausa Fulani leaders. That's okay. Let's take the kind of historical facts that brought about them taking the life of those people or bringing those people down. Why it was like no Igbo leader was murdered was simply because the Igbos were not in the helm of affairs. They were not the leaders. I don't forget about 1964 election that was opposed by so many people that brought about Azigboro, who was a student. He led the fight to annulled the 1964 election, that it was masterminded by fraud. Aziboro led out as a very young man, a student, at age of 27. He led that particular move for them to annul that particular election. The election seemed to be manipulated to the favor of the North, that brought about the Northern People's Party winning that election. In that particular election, we have Northern People's Congress that won with this vote of 2,168,007 votes. We have National Council of Nigeria Citizens that took second at 1,640,700. The Nigerian National Democratic Party came up with 833,000 votes. So this were the election. But the result was a victory for the North people. It was Northern People's Congress, which won the 162 of the 312 seats in the House of Representatives, while the NNA had a total of 198 seats. Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa was re-elected Prime Minister of Nigeria. However, the election was marked by malpractice and violence. The election was marked by malpractice, by violence. And who masterminded the malpractice? The Britain. The Britain are brain behind the masterminding of that particular election. Because the previous election that was held even earlier before now, they also rigged it to the favor of the Northerners. And why are the Britain doing this? You know, when they came first to Nigeria, they landed in the north in 1600, April 1. But they were trying to explore the land. The Fulanis gave them a strong resistance, telling them, we also came like you came, because it is recorded that the Igbos are the first to be in Nigeria. That's what them and Igbo means, the earliest people. Unarguably that Igbos are the descendants of Israel. You may believe it, you may not believe it. That is why the Igbos still practice a lot of things that are embedded in the Old Testament, which is the part of the Jewish culture and nature. So they practice them. They came from the Hebrew. They are the missing tribe of Israel. Eri, whatever, Gad. They are the grandchildren of Gad, the son of Jacob. Though many people are arguing about it, but when you trace histories, happenings about Igbos, you will see similarities with the Israelites. Some talk about the color. If you read the book of Solomon 1 verse 6, it says something. Do not look down on me because of I am black. It is the sun that made me to be darkened with this color. But that's talk for another day. But the point I'm trying to make here is that the Igbo, this particular election was, which Aziboro himself fought against, that they should cancel that election, that it is fraud. Aziboro. In 1956, it was discovered that oil was discovered in Bayelsa, where Aziboro came from. It was that oil and the way they are being manipulated and treated made Aziboro to declare Niger Delta the first people to declare a secession from Nigeria, the first man to ever declare it at the age of 27. Because people also said why they hate Igbo, because why would they go and fight the civil war? But they were not the first to declare secession from Nigeria. So it was this satisfaction of that 1964 election that this guy protested, and how they were being manipulated and being treated as the Niger Deltans made him to declare Niger Delta Republic. Now, in declaring the Niger Delta Republic, that was the coup that overrun Tafawa Balewa. And as Igboroka developed interest for him because he relocated to Lagos, that coup that brought about Aguiyi. It was in the military when he saw Aguiyi took power. That was when he now declared the Niger Delta Republic. They fought him, and the protest lasted for 12 days only. They brought them down with the military power from the federal, which was led by Aguiyi. Hence, the hatred between the Niger Deltas and the Igbos. They sentenced him to death. So when Aguiyi was taken over by was removed, Yakubu Gowon came and gave him freedom, amnesty, and pardoned him, gave him pardon. His alignment with the Northerners became so strong. So when Ojukwu declared war in 1966 for Biafra freedom, Azikigboro fought against Ojukwu. That why did you why will you people say that one Nigeria because Igbo was the helm of affair? When I talked about the secession, you never supported me. Now you want to. So that's why when the Biafra war was fighting against Nigerian troops, these guys, the Niger Deltas, majority of them were fighting against the Biafrans. That is why I keep saying it. It will be very difficult for Biafra to come. It's easier for us to say freedom for the Igbos will come than to say Biafra because Biafra is complex. You cannot talk about Biafra without the Niger Deltas. You cannot. That is the truth of the matter. And when you talk about Biafra, they are inclusive. It's a big name that comprises all of them. And if they're inclusive, they can never work with you. Look at Hassan the Kobo that was talking about Biafra before was being sponsored by the federal government of Nigeria, but nobody knew about it. That was why Nnamdi Kanu, one of his brokers, he said he gave him 20 million naira when he was in prison to work and train his boys. He invited the military to arrest those boys. He is simply taking a revenge of what happened to Aboro Ajaka Aziboro. So they can never forgive you. Have you seen you're talking about hatred. Now, yes, the Igbos sentenced him to death, being heroes then, but he was simply defending the federal. So that was when Ojukwu now declared for Biafra. He was angry with Ojukwu. I declared for this. You guys fought me. I will not let their life. You guys will declare for this Biafra. They fought against themselves. Now, but the genesis of all this particular was that particular election that was marred for the first time, the first election that was held, second one in 1964, all characterized with violence and manipulation. So when this particular leader that was manipulated themselves into power was still in power, Ojukwu, when these leaders that were in seat, Tafawa Balewa, with a manipulated result, with violent, and they were still in charge, ruling the nation, that brought about the military coup. Military coup that also went about the removal of Aguiyi and many of them, until 1966 military coup that took place, that they say is Igbo. Why they didn't kill any Igbo leader was because the Igbo's leader were not given any key position that was bringing about the corruption. So no Igbo man was tampered because they were not at the helm of affairs. They were not the leaders. So it was the leaders that were murdered because of that election. And don't forget, it was still the Britain that instigated that particular coup. They told them that these guys are corrupt. They told them to manipulate the election to put these people in power. The same British instructed these guys under, you don't know them, these are bad, to fight against this corruption in Nigeria. They fought for it. They labeled it Igbo military coup because no Igbo leader was killed. But no Igbo leader, no Igbo top person was at the top of affair in the leadership. So will he kill someone who is not in power? But still, they want to use it to label Igbo against them. So in general, Our problem are the Britain. They also sold the same idea based on when they came in. I was talking about it earlier. When they came into occupy Nigeria, they settled. When they came to the south, Yoruba, after very little resistance, allowed them to occupy. But they tried to occupy in Igbo, tough time. It gave them a very healthy tough time before they were able to settle in Igbo land, in the east, southeast, and south. So based on that resistance and opposed and interacting with Igbo, they discovered that these people are brilliant like them. Remember, I told you guys that Igbos came from the Hebrews. Check the Israelite, how knowledgeable they are, how sensible they are. The same thing is in Igbo people. So when they came, Igbos were the first people to have a documented democratic election in the world. The white borrowed from that. It's on record. The white man said it. It was because of where we came from. The Igbos came from. So that knowledge that they come from Israel is stayed there. So the white could not penetrate them. They couldn't. Hence the hatred. So when they were trying to hand over the power, the independence of Nigeria, they told the Northerners, any day you allow the Igbos to be in the seat of leadership in Nigeria, that day your slavery starts. Because originally they are not Nigerians. So Igbo man who knows, who are already the owners of the land, if they ever taken over their position as the owners of the land, they will be able to tell these people that you guys are not from here. And they will remain a slave in Nigeria. And they don't have any home to run back to because they already left their country to make Nigeria their home. That is why when they stay in power, they develop outside Nigeria, Niger, Algeria, Cameroon. Meanwhile, the country where they say that they're making the money, they don't want to develop it. So it is not the hatred that you say Igbo didn't cause it. The problem is the Britain that caused the problem. So the wrong narrative to the Fulani, they are holding tenaciously to that narrative. And that's why the hatred for Igbo is on the increase. You heard what Tafawa Balewa said, that whenever he put a Igbo man as a laborer, he want to be the supervisor. He take over the position. It was a narrative that was sold to them that they are holding tenaciously, they will not let go. So stop saying that Igbo are the cause of the problem. The Britain started it, so they idea to the Fulani, and Fulani that are holding it. That is why the Fulani can never see Igbo man as as a family member, as a brother. Never. Forget about what I say one Nigeria. They know that we are not one. That's why I pity those Igbo people now who are into Islam. If you like, do the best. Go to Al-Haji, go to Haji as an Islamic cleric, as Igbo man. The Northerners, the Fulanis will never see you as original Islam. Go and check history. They know they have already concluded you guys are there to make money. That you can never be a true Islamic. They won't tell you. They will be using them as a tool against the Igbos. But they will never trust you as original Islamic cleric or Islamic individual. I want to stop here so far. I will continue this particular series in part 2. If you think we have made a good point, share this video to let others watch. It will never be the cause of their problem. It is their God-given blessing that brought about the hatred. They are resistant to Western world, opposed to Western world, and the wrong narrative they sold to the Northeast, the Fulanis, brought about them. They told the Fulanis, any day Igbo man takes over position as the president of Nigeria, that day your slavery starts. So they are afraid to be slave in Nigeria, hence they will never allow Igbo man to be at the presidential seat. Bless you. Thank you. God